Oh, there it goes. All right, so I did it. I fixed it. Technology is not my friend, and I don't know why I decided to do something that so heavily involves technology. But yes. I will. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna grab something, and then we can start. I do a 1, 2, 3 clap for my audio, so I know when it starts. You can do it with me if you want.
You're not broadcasting live right now, and we can't talk junk.
Oh no, it's not live. It's a podcast, sweetie. It's a podcast. I record it and then I edit it and then I put it online.
Okay, well, I don't feel so bad about picking my nose then.
I'm just trying to explain to him what this means. He doesn't get it. It's okay.
Oh, that's cool. So if I say something dumb, she can be like, will you go back and say that same thing, but not as dumb?
She'll loop it. She's going to loop your dumb talk over and over again.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry if you were confused. I didn't mean to make you feel like it was a live thing.
No,
podcasts usually aren't live.
She's been telling me it's not for a week.
What I am doing is audio is going to be free for everyone to listen to. Now, the video recording of this is going to be for my Patreons only, which is literally my mom. So...
Thank you for the warning that it was your mother watching.
My mom has seen me do such atrocious things. Nothing shocks her anymore. She listens to my podcast where I talk blatantly about sex. Like, I think she's accepted who I am.
Yeah.
It's like makes me think of the time I took acid with my mom. You know?
Wow, that's an experience.
That was great.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, and welcome back to the pod. For those of us who are doing the podcast video, because you're a Patreon subscriber, you get to watch us be really fucking silly on camera, which I never do. With me, I have 2 of the members of Rochester's local moodpill, Aaron and Pinch, is it?
Yep.
Yes. And I'm going to be interviewing them today, / we're probably going to get into a whole bunch of messy things. But mainly I want to talk about music and their music to be particular. I'm a big fan. I don't like to miss your shows lately, and it's unfortunate we haven't been able to see you guys.
We were just talking about that. We met at a gig that we were playing. One of our most popular videos of us is a video that you took.
Oh, the Tool one. Yeah.
10 million views,
10 million
at
views.
least. And you're also the only submission of actual fan art that we've ever done. So,
cheers to that.
We haven't turned on the top fan badge, but when we do,
Nice. Yeah, you guys rock. The Tool cover you guys did that night was phenomenal. Especially being a female singer, it is so much cooler.
Yeah. And at a lot of the gigs we do with a lot of real heavy bands, we're the only female singing, and sometimes the only singing you'll hear in the night.
Yeah.
We're kind of still heavy as hell. So it's kind of like this nice break in those nights. But it's.
You always gave me like a 90s feel. You guys have that 90s rock metal feel. Honestly, it's very whole kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's where it came from.
Yeah, I'm older than I look.
Yeah, I'm so old. I am so old. Just kidding. No, but me and Mike, the bass player, started the band back in 1996. So you're saying 90s, that was my, awakening, my becoming, and I discovered my body. all that stuff,
Well, that goes into one of my questions about how the band really started. How did Moodpill become Moodpill?
Well,
this is a great story.
It is a great story. And I would say, oh, I wish Mike was here to participate, but Mike doesn't remember a lot of things. I don't remember a lot of things too. Sometimes you need that whole like whatever. But he was playing in a band, and then I was through church doing a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, where I played Mary. And he saw me in that, and he loved it so much, and he was like, I want you to sing in my band. And that was kind of how it started. And then that lasted for a couple years back then. And then big, fights and breakups and
Well, we should also touch on the fact that you had posed a question to us in an earlier correspondence about our being in a relationship.
Yes, you guys are in a relationship, right?
Yeah. This is our house where we live. But way back then, her and Mike were almost married, left at the altar, something crazy happened.
Wow.
So,
and it's funny, not funny, because I was in a relationship with Mike at that time, and then when everything happened, when we broke up and then the band broke up, it hurt me so much, and I made it a rule. From that time forward, I would never date anybody in the band. You don't date somebody in your band. It's bad for business. I love the music, and it's important to keep that kind of pure on its own. And then
one day at a Salvation Army,
I picked this guy up.
I was actually shopping for records, and I had picked up the Jesus Christ Superstar vinyl record.
It's a big theme with Jesus
which
Christ
is how
Superstar.
her and Mike met. And, we just kind of, I told her then I was a bass player. I've been a bass player my whole life. I play guitar in Moodpill. It's the first band I've ever played a guitar for. Right when we met, and I was hanging out here all the time, they had band practice every Sunday. And right when they got a great drummer, they lost the great guitar player. So they would all practice together, just bass and drums and her singing. And, I loved it. Great music, great stuff, but I'm not a guitar player. I didn't want to be a guitar player. I've never played guitar in a band. But at the same time, I'm listening to these same songs every week, and it's just the three of them. And boy, I could go down in the basement. I could make some noise on the guitar. I don't hate Sundays. They don't hate practice. It's something. And when they find a guitar player, I'll teach them all the songs. I don't want to be a guitar player.
I fought it tooth and nail.
We all fought it.
I mean, we would go out to open jam at Murph's and stuff, and with him as the guitar player, but also announcing that we're looking for a guitar player.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want him to be in the band.
I'm not a guitar.
And then the reason I made this rule in the very beginning, Mike Mortimer, bass player of Moodpill, he's the one who told me, no, we have to have him in.
Yeah, and
so he's the one who made me make the rule, and then he's the one who made me break the rule.
18 years later.
But yeah.
Are you still looking for a guitar player?
No.
I've just accepted my fate.
That is tragic. Bass is quite an instrument.
Yeah, and I'm great at it. I always say there are better bass players in this town than me. There's 1,000 better bass players than me, but I'm the baddest.
And he does still play bass. He's in some other bands and whatnot.
She allows me to play bass.
Oh, shut up. But I bought him a guitar and he hasn't looked back.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys, though, that is so, easily talented, He's like, oh, I suck so bad. Okay, whatever. He's like, how do you play this thing? Does it go like this?
Self-deprecation. So it's being humble. My partner Pat, he's a bass player. He's very humble about his skills, but he is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's better to err on that side.
Mm-hmm. Right.
As an artist, we always look bad on our work. We're always like,
Worst critiques.
Yeah.
Think about all of the guys you've met who are like, oh, dude, I'm so good at guitar.
Ugh.
You never are.
Gross.
Be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
All those guys suck. To be honest.
All those guys suck.
That's why I say I'm not the best bass player.
Yeah.
I'm possibly the worst, but I'm the baddest.
Yeah.
I do bad things. I like it.
So, I mean,
And every bass player has to have that little bit of Sid Vicious in them, right? So it's I get to say it once a year. I say I'm the baddest. I know it's not true, but you get to say it.
Fair.
but yeah, I think we have formed a really good foursome that we got going on right now.
And you know,
I mean, Casey is phenomenal.
this drummer, Casey.
This drummer. Every time I get off stage, people are like, "You're a drummer." I was like, "I know."
A good drummer's hard to find these days. You know?
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
Lucky, and we're so lucky. And he's younger than us, but an old soul kind of dude.
Yeah.
But he keeps us hip with all the kids' lingos.
Yeah, he does.
I know how to yeet things now.
Yes. Yeet, motherfucker.
That's skeet.
Oh wait.
That's
Sorry.
Yeah, skeet and yeet.
Oh, is that skeet and yeet? That's
Yeah.
in your hand, and then you throw it.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh boy.
It made a shirt.
Boy, I guess for a successful skeet and yeet, to something, and you have to swing on it like a vine in your Tarzan.
Yeah.
There you go.
You need.
Boy, those vitamins are fucking me up.
So, how long have you guys been playing music exactly? You started in the 90s, so presumably, what, 20 years?
Right.
Yeah. I think I gave myself my own 25th anniversary as a bass player the other day.
You did.
Yeah. Well,
Is that why you were wearing that hat and singing in the mirror?
I was in a band way back in 1994. Started a good hardcore band called Gerber in Rochester. We were all babies, so we were the Gerber babies. And we just had a reunion gig over
I wish you could have been
Christmas.
at that show. That was one of our greatest shows.
Yeah, Moodpill and Gerber both played a
Tryon.
gig together.
I would have been 4.
Yeah.
I would have been.
And admittedly, I played bass like I was 4 back then. We evolved. I've been in this version of the band coming up 2 years. 2 years. And it was a very quick transition from filling in on Sundays to being a full-fledged guitar player. And I think I still play the guitar like a bass a lot. A few people have mentioned it. So it's very rhythmic and percussive in the riffing that we end up doing.
I don't think you can ever get that out of you, though.
Nope.
Part of it. Like a bass player is kind of like a percussionist in a way.
I've been real lucky to have been playing since I was about 16 with a guy named Nate Coffey, who is a local legend, monster guitar player. So I studied his work inside and out as I was emerging as a bass player. And he's very much Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray, and then some of the more modern players. And so a lot of that was just ingrained into my soul, learning these songs of his as a bass player. And it was kind of crazy how I was able to step into a guitar situation and channel Nate Coffey and make solos happen. And there's a lot of bass solos in my guitar solos. But yeah, as a bass player for so long, that's when we started playing. She was probably singing a lot longer than I've been playing bass. Doesn't like to admit she's a great piano player, a better piano player than I am.
I don't. No.
She's a badass guitar player.
Wow.
Yeah, she likes it when I play guitar, so she can be Axl Rose.
I do like to just focus on the one thing.
And good.
Playing and singing is hard.
Well, and it's it is. I feel like because I am so little, I am a tiny person,
Mhm.
big to be getting like a handicap sticker. But which is unfair. I think they should review it on a personal basis because I can barely see it above. But anyway, they gave me a license anyways. But you know, like I have small hands, and you know, I get tired, fatigued really fast. You know, like I just feel like if I had like those long fingers, like
You would sing better?
I would play a guitar better. Yes, if I had longer fingers.
You could get a baby guitar, 3/4 guitar.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you bring
Like-
a mandolin into the band,
No, I'm not
I
gonna
would light
play-
it on fire. I hate a mandolin more than anything, and I can't explain it. I smash them all.
So, as musicians, who inspires you the most? Like, who did you idolize, or still do?
You know, again.
Can I answer a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just kidding. I took a breath.
Hey, he's a guitar player. He doesn't get to sing and get all the goo eyes at him every day.
True.
Although he has a mic now on
Ooh.
stage, which
Yeah, and
So he
bass
does have a
players,
platform.
you
we're
know,
not answering
for
your
the
question.
historical.
I feel like we're in the White House press secretary.
I'm just
What is
saying,
your question? Oh, we're talking about something else.
I'm just saying I've moved up a step. Bass players never get to show. Now I'm a guitar player. It's like sometimes they look at me now.
Oh my god.
Back to the question, who inspires you?
Who inspires me? I mean, this is my desert island artist, 100%, hands down, Tori Amos. I love her.
Wow.
You know, I just feel like we're like parallel soul sisters kind of thing. I mean, she is the daughter of a preacher. I'm a daughter of a preacher. You know, she writes lyrics that don't make sense. I write lyrics that don't make sense sometimes. You know, like where she goes with music is out there. People don't understand her, and I feel like I'm not understood. You know, like she's one of those that, I mean, she's just insanely talented. And every time I've seen her live in concert, last time was like 10 years ago, and I was in Durham, North Carolina, and I was 6th row, and it was perfect because you could just see, you know, because she straddles the bench. I can't do it now. I mean, she straddles the bench while she plays, and I could just like look at her crotch. It was amazing. But yeah, she's somebody that is definitely that is an artist that is, you know, under the big.
I personally have a wide variety of influential musicians whose crotches I enjoy staring at. But
That was a good
it's all kind of spread across genres, major influences. I feel like there's one or two artists in every genre that's been an inspiration. Not every, you know, but I like rap, but I don't like all rap. I like a very select, you know, niche market of like old school boom bap New York hip hop. The Wu-Tang Clan, Czarface on the East Coast, Gangstar, a lot of that good old hits. But I'm a big techno head. The Bass Bin Twins and like DJ Dan, Fatboy Slim, those break beats really influence a lot of everything I do musically. Bass or guitar is kind of rooted in like hip hop and techno.
Yeah, and I did take a listen to one of your dubstep remixes.
Oh, yeah.
It is very 90s. It is very 90s, and it's awesome. Like, honestly, in my opinion, I love Zombie Nation.
Well, and those remixes are kind of a challenge for me as far as getting anything that's not a 90s tone. 99% of what's making up those remixes is an actual cut and sampled from our studio takes. I have our masters from the studio. So all of the bass sounds that you hear are the actual bass player cut up and made into a bass.
Yeah, he does a lot of work.
All of those bar sounds.
That's like ridiculously old school.
Hey, you gotta do something in this quarantine.
Hey,
But
you're
I love
totally
it.
right.
I mean, it's like looking at these songs in a different light,
And
you
my
just
time-
bringing out.
My time is going to come. You say it's 90s and old school. Right now, everybody's on this 80s thing. So, you know, a couple more
The
years,
retro
I'm gonna
is
blow up.
right. Yeah, we put that jean jacket back on.
Denim
Yeah.
Dan. Jeez.
I don't know.
Where's my Jankos, honey?
Oh man.
Oh man, I got rid of my Jenkos. I would totally be wearing them right now.
I had the Hot Topic version of Janko jeans.
Man.
I got lots of
I love
UFOs
them.
upstairs. I almost wore them, except for they're a little hot. You know, there's
Yeah.
like those parachute pants that.
And then, you know, also
Good
I
stuff.
like to think, at least with the intro to that dub, you know, the dubstep as a thing is kind of more 2000s, and I tried to get a little bit more of a modern edge, at least structurally, as far as that dubstep goes. Kind of stay modern, but by the end of the song, I've gone into like a Latin house beat, which is so 90s, you know, and then it breaks down into like this like hip hop funk. But again, I kind of felt like the outro has a nice modern twist on that also.
I would I'm gonna take a moment and pause and going to pretend to play this and then edit it in. So
Can we just clap again?
Oh.
yeah, we can clap again.
Let me know when we're done listening to it.
This is so fun. I love it. I'm gonna give it a beer real quick.
Oh, that shit was dope.
I think I'm gonna just edit that into when we start.
Please do. Oh. You have all the permission in the world to make a little sample out of it. And every time anybody plays anything dope, you just hit that. Oh, that shit was dope.
I'll have to use it on my Twitch channel as like someone following me.
Yes. There you go. The little pop.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, you ready?
Sure.
I love
3,
it.
2, 1. Ha.
I'm such a dispenser.
It's like she's
Oh.
I listen to the rules.
So, any other influences at all? I know you only listed one, Aaron, but
I know. Because that's my go-to. I do love all types of music. Country is my least favorite, although, that being said, there's a picture of Kenny Rogers on my wall right there.
Kenny Rogers is a different type of country.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I did sing with him 2 years in a row when I was a child.
Wow.
It was actually just 2 shows. When he was coming to Rochester, it was like in the kid portion. Went up there and did like the whatever, the Christmas songs and opening the present. And there's a puppy, and you're like, oh, you know.
Did Kenny Rogers let you keep the puppy?
Kenny Rogers let me eat the puppy.
Where do you think you got roasters from?
Oh, Kenny Rogers.
I'm sitting here thinking of influences and thinking about how if I was to really list off influences, it might not directly tie into what I would tell you like my favorite music is right now.
Right. Well, what is your favorite music right now?
Oh, man.
I think we're a little bit spoiled and inundated with music due to Spotify, which I love. I think it's great. It has changed the way that we listen to and purchase music, because sometimes we don't buy an album anymore and listen to the whole thing. Like, I can't even remember the last time I was like, oh, this. Oh, okay, that's not true.
She refused to
Kanye.
give me...
Anytime Kanye comes out with something new, I'll listen to his whole album on Spotify, of course. But
she refused to give me a
Childish
Spotify
Gambino.
login for years. Because she enjoyed the fact that I still listen to CDs and
yeah, I
whole
did. I
albums.
tried to I withheld it from him because we have the family plan.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I had it on, but I didn't want to give it to him because I was like, this is awesome how he loves to push a CD in the car stereo or whatever. And we tend to not do that a lot anymore. And I definitely love these.
So who's your favorite music right now? Is it still Kenny Rogers?
No.
No.
It depends on my mood. That was my whole point of it. Okay, sometimes you feel like listening to Whitney Houston and Britney Spears. She dope, by the way.
It's embarrassing how often we listen to ourselves at home.
Well, and that
we're
too.
always playing our own album.
That too.
But
it's pretty good music.
it is.
Well, and I mean, since we haven't been jamming, we haven't seen the guys. We haven't seen Casey or Mike yet. We'll go downstairs and like do karaoke.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, however you scratch your itch, man. I live with a musician. I completely understand. He is itching to practice so bad that he went out and bought an amp so he could play by himself at home, and it just depresses him playing by himself. Like,
Yeah.
It's dude, I miss it so much.
I know I've been real lucky to be able to sit down and craft beats. I know that.
Yeah,
the
he
that
goes
a lot of
into
people
like,
are
you
able
know,
to get.
got the headphones on and in the computer and he, you know, making these remixes and stuff and, you know,
What am I listening to now? I'm really upset that the Amigo the Devil was canceled at the Lilac Festival. He's like this murder folk artist. He's been one of my favorites lately. I've been listening to a lot of old stuff, and I guess a major influence as a guitar player would be the guy from Faith No More. Find myself as I'm writing riffs, I didn't even know it, but as I'm where do I know this chord I just think I came up with from? And it's back from these old Faith No More albums, yeah. But that's a great band I think is influenced and is also what I'm currently listening to.
I like 60s surfer rock. That's fun.
Oh, the Steadwells are a local Rochester band. They're my favorite thing in the world right now. If you can listen to the Steadwells, you should. They're great. They're kind of like a little bit 90s also, but then with some more of the early 2000s.
I just fact-checked myself, and I forgot that I actually did just listen to a CD the other day, a whole CD in its entirety, and that was Buffalo Sex Change.
Another Rochester.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Buffalo,
yeah, Buffalo.
So I correct myself. They had given me a CD, and I finally put it in the other day and listened to it. But yeah, I mean, it's so easy to just go on your phone and pull up whatever, you know, which is great. It's awesome. Everything is like right here at your fingertips. But you know, it when you had to do more physical action, even if it's putting the CD in. Or,
and not all cars have CD players now, but they have aux cord put-ins.
Aux cord.
Yeah.
It was my lunch money all week and buy a tape every Friday.
Yeah.
at the record time on Monroe Avenue.
Yeah.
I remember recording things off the radio on cassettes.
Yes. Absolutely. I need the PS5, man. And you're like,
yep.
Oh, yeah.
WBER, the top 20
right now,
or whatever, 100 songs.
Still, when I listen to We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel, right at the outro where it's on the conga drums and it's fading out, I still expect to hear, that was bit. Off the radio, and then I hit pause to not get Billy Joel. Ooh, that's a great name for a hip hop dude. Billy Joel.
That could be your hip hop avatar.
Yeah.
Billy Joel. But yeah, I mean, the lengths you went to, what you had to do to find music before, and now it's just so easily accessible, and it is because it can, you know.
It also is, there's not as much advertising for music right now as there was. Like, you don't know always about new albums because they don't get advertised the way they used to. And you kind of get stuck in a music bubble where it's just like the same songs over and over again.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I suppose it's a double-edged sword, though, when I do have, like, Spotify notifications for certain artists that I wouldn't get notified about anywhere else.
Right.
It's nice that you can pick and choose some real bubble type stuff, but at the same time, there could have been a new Beatles album and I wouldn't know.
Beatles are overrated anyway.
You know, I was just in Manchester, England, and I was, what is the name of the street called? Wherever the
Abbey
Beatles,
Road?
Is that what that's not what it's called. Mitchell Street or something. And the cavern, where the Beatles were discovered. I went to the bar next door. What? You didn't see that coming. I was right there. I could have gone right in to be like, I'm in the bar where the Beatles were discovered. No, I went to the bar.
Yeah. I mean,
I
they
do
made
love
history. You know, you gotta
Yeah.
give them credit where credit's due, but they are incredibly overrated for anyone
Yeah.
nowadays. Like, who actually enjoys listening to the Beatles if it's not your great great grandfather?
You know, there's the Heavy Road album, and I was kind of like raised on it, so that'll always have a place in my heart. And it might make the list of like 5 albums you get to take with you. That might be one of them, but really just for like the last 5 songs, you know.
I do enjoy the Broadway show that they did. I've listened to it.
The remix Love
Like,
album. That's like,
Is that what it's
yeah,
called? I don't know.
Love.
Hmm.
It's
I
all
know.
remixed. Like remixes like I make.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like a history band, but they're just,
Stones are overrated too. I'm just gonna say it.
You know, a lot of people don't want to admit that certain music just isn't relevant to a lot of people now. It's unfortunate.
Who was it that just said everybody was mad because he's like, who's Van Halen?
Uh,
Like, Billie Eilish.
probably Billie Eilish, yeah. But then
Whatever.
it's weird though, as a mother, like, is it like when your child is like, I don't know what that is, you're like, oh my god, I failed as a parent. What do you mean you haven't seen all 3 Back to the Futures? Like, it's like those kind of things. You have to make sure that you instill it into the next
oh
generation.
yeah, absolutely.
Or just make it accessible for them. But
I gave my son an iPod full of music, and 300 different artists, and he came out of it liking the Beastie Boys, and that's enough for me. If he walks away from his life experience with me liking the Beastie Boys,
Oh,
I've done one good
Boys.
thing,
Very good.
You know?
So, your music, how do you write it? Is it strictly one person writing everything? Do you collaborate together? Is it like a random jam session that you don't put lyrics to?
Well, I would like to touch on that.
Okay, go
So,
ahead.
ever since he joined the band against my will, it was a different writing experience because we had like played music together at home, whatever. We'll jam out sometimes. Those are great nights when we have like jam sessions and we're just having fun. But I felt like I felt stuck the first time I was writing with him. And Sorry Not Sorry was definitely this guy's, and it took probably a whole year for us to actually write it. Meaning it took a year for Aaron to finish writing it. Because I was
The
just
music was good in a week.
It's weird because I was like so mad about the fact that they were forcing him upon me, although he is amazing. Okay, he's amazing, and I'm so lucky to have him as the guitar player in my band. But actual guitar player.
Yeah. I had to list on Facebook as not guitar player for a whole year
Now
I was allowed to change it.
It's changed now to actual guitar player. So that was, I feel like that song you came in and you were like, oh, here's this, and you came up with it really quick. Some songs, we do jam them out, and that's what we wrote. Sometimes
The Farmer's Widow was the song we wrote.
Yeah, but that was finished, I finished writing that
In
the studio.
Yeah.
Like, it was my turn. So, like, a 2-day studio session is, like, 10 minutes for me. So I sit around while they record all their stuff. But then I just remember walking into the booth, like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. What am I going to do? And then it is what it is now. And it's, it just came together. So, like...
When I stepped into the moodpill world for the first time, it was just as a listener, And I was lucky to walk into a band that had, an album's